Morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Suzana Mihajlovic, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'm having a chat with a woman that I admire, that I adore. I've known the incredible Hanna Kael for, well, probably close to 7 or 8 years now. And boy, oh boy, she is a woman of heart, of soul. She is dedicated to her purpose and mission in life. She is one of the incredible energy healers slash activators that I have ever experienced, and I've been to many, and it's an absolute honor to be sitting here chatting with Hanna Kael. So just a little bit about Hanna. Hanna's deepest passion is helping people reconnect with the frequency of unconditional love. And boy, oh boy, she emanates that frequency herself. And the truth of who they really are at their most authentic frequency. And she helps them express that and put it out in the world. After discovering that she had died at birth, what an incredible story that is. And she was resuscitated back to life. Hanna began asking a question that would shape the rest of her journey. Why am I here? We've all asked that question. So, from an young age, Hanna felt different, never quite fitting in, even within her own family. By the age of 8, people were already telling her she had healing hands. This sparked a lifelong exploration of healing, spirituality, and human potential. Today, Hanna works as an intuitive energy healer and channel, sharing channeled messages and light language activations that support people to reconnect with who they truly are. She releases conditioning that keeps them small and helps them embody the unique frequency of authenticity and helps them express that authenticity through their life experience and businesses and relationships. Welcome, Hanna Kael. So great to be with you today.
Thank you so much, Susanna. It's so great to be here with you. And you're one of my favorite people as well. Like just
Oh,
putting that out there. Yeah,
thank
every connection I have with you is just amazing. It's just like soul food. Yeah.
thank you so much. It's so mutual and it's so exciting to get you out in the world so that people can experience your presence, your channeling gifts, and who you are. So, yeah, I would love to hear your story again about, you know, the birthing experience and what that meant for your life.
So when I was in my late 20s, I was meditating and I was just taken throughout my whole life from when I was in my mother's womb and birth and my younger years and teenage years and up until that point of when I was meditating. And one of the things that my mother had told me, which I saw in the meditation, was that when she was pregnant with me, she had cancer, and she was advised by 5 different doctors to abort me because they said it's too dangerous and that she could possibly lose her life if she continued with the pregnancy. And
Hmm.
and she even had a nurse run up after her after she visited a doctor and shake her by the shoulder and say, "You must abort this baby." And so that was something that came to me in that meditation as well. Um,
Hmm.
and and I was just being shown how I was divinely protected right from when I was in my mother's womb. And then I saw something. I saw my birth, and I saw that I came out blue, and I wasn't breathing, and they had to resuscitate me. And I had no knowledge of this, and then I was shown a lot of other things as well. But when I asked my mum later on that day about that, she said, "Yeah, that's true. You did die at birth, and you were resuscitated." And excuse me, and brought back to life. And I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. That would have been great to know. But that's what I was shown, obviously. And but also I'll add in there as well that my middle daughter, the same thing happened to her as well, and she had to be resuscitated as well. and so did her eldest son. Exactly the same thing happened to all three of us, and we've all been um, very connected to spirit our whole life, and had I don't know if you'd call them like gifts or psychic gifts, or just more in touch with our intuition and seeing things and feeling and hearing things that most people don't necessarily hear. But it sort of got me thinking about, I wonder if that's because you hear about a lot of near-death experiences, and how they come back with all these amazing gifts that they didn't have before. And it just
Mhm.
made me wonder, I wonder if even when you cross over when you're born, if you come back with that knowing because it's a cellular knowing and it's a DNA knowing. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, that's
It, it's almost a remembering. It
yeah.
sounds like from what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. And, so you've shared examples of the gifts that the three of you have. Um, how do they look in real life? Like, tell us a little bit more about them. What does it mean in everyday life to be spiritually awakened and connected?
Oh gosh. Well, from a very young age I started, and the same with my daughter and her son, my eldest grandson. We started seeing things when we were very young, like what I would call spirits. I was told by my parents because I was raised in a Christian home that they were demons, and I would feel things all the time. And my daughter and grandson, they see things. They've always been able to see things.
Yeah,
And it's not saying that, I mean, everybody has this ability. We all have this ability, but maybe yeah, we just, like you said, had that remembering. But with my daughter, like she's got exceptional gifts, and she advises world leaders because of her. She's so innately tapped into her intuition, that whatever she tries to do in life, she excels in because she follows that intuition. She's just always had that. Um, Whereas some other people might sort of have to practice that a little bit more, if that
yeah,
makes sense. But
absolutely.
but with me, I started noticing a healing gift coming through at a very young age, and people started saying that from the age of 8 that I had a healing gift, and
Hmm.
and that's something that um, yeah, I didn't really do anything with until much later on in life, and for me, that's just been a journey of learning how to surrender to that love, because it's all love. It all comes from infinite love. We are nothing without love. We can't exist. We aren't held together without that love. And when we can surrender to that love and know that this love has our best, our absolute best at its core being, and it wants nothing but the best for us, we can 100% surrender into that, and that surrender allows us to then to be in that flow state and live from that flow state, and allow that whatever wants to come through us from higher consciousness to flow through us to others, whether that's healing or through our words or through our talents or whatever it is. That's
Yeah,
that's the flow state when we can truly live a surrendered life. And I
yeah.
remember Catherine Kuhlman saying she was a Christian evangelist that my parents used to listen to, and I listened to her as well when I was younger. And she had a tremendous healing gift, and she would pack out auditoriums, and people would be healed, like incredible healing stories. And one of the things that she said was, I just wrote it down so I don't misquote her. I surrendered completely. And when I did, God began to use me. And this has been my journey as well, without even knowing that she said that. I only Googled that this morning because she made a huge impact on my life, because that's when God started speaking to me about that, that God was going to use me in the same way as well. And I fought that. I have fought that and resisted that my entire life. And not
Wow.
anymore though. Now I'm surrendering, and the more that I surrender, the more I just allow that to flow through me.
Wow. Yeah. So you've mentioned quite a bit there, Hannah, and I absolutely, what your healing, as I mentioned earlier, is out of this world. You do have a gift, and you've allowed that gift to move through you. But you've also, talked about the big S word, surrender. And you clearly said, when you let go and just trust and trust that love, which I think you are referring to God, because you mentioned God after also. And I'd love to hear more about that. But my first, thing that comes up for me, I think surrender is something that most people, including myself, with all the work that I've done, on myself over the years, I think surrender is one of the most difficult things for us to do. Tell us about, how do you surrender and trust?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, so when we are met with fear, we're met with fear all throughout our lives. We're not going to, get to a point in our life where we aren't met with fear. It's just how do we respond to that fear is the question.
Hmm.
And for
Hmm.
me, um, I've gone through so many dark nights of the soul. I could write 10 books about it, to be honest. And maybe that's just because I'm stubborn. I don't know. But maybe maybe most people go through that many dark nights of the soul. I'm not sure. Um, but in the midst of those dark nights, when you feel that tremendous um, pain, emotional pain of a trauma that you've gone through, we can get stuck in the story of that trauma, and we can get stuck in the frequency of that story. Um,
Mm.
and
Mm.
and if we allow ourselves just to continue the cycle and continue the mind loops of what happened to me, then we will remain stuck and not able to move forward from that
Yeah,
trauma. But when
yeah,
in the midst of that pain, we can just open up our arms and fall fully into the pain and feel
yes,
the pain. We are
yeah,
surrendering to the pain and to love. You have to do it with the love. You have to do it with the presence of love. And so you have to invite that love in. And the
yes,
moment that you do that, and the moment that you stop resisting and fighting the pain, and how could that have happened? And when we stop blaming and we go, this happened and it happened for my good, that's the moment that love can come in and transmute that and alchemize that, because we are all alchemists, and that's a big part of
all
what I do. I'm an
alchemists.
energy alchemist.
Absolutely.
And when
We
we
are
can
all,
when we can turn that trauma and turn it around into its opposite and just completely accept what is, then the love can transform us.
absolutely.
I
That's the
hope that
point.
explained
It,
it.
it really does. And I love that explanation. And that's the point of surrender. And, you know, um, what, and I love that you're sharing about surrendering to the pain and opening up to the dark nights of the soul, because they are necessary. In my line of work, there are so many teachers out there that say that they're spiritual, but yet are challenged by the heavier emotions and the dark nights of the soul. So there's this thing out there, which I hope is changing, that says, oh, you just have to be positive. Oh, you just have to be on a high frequency. When the actual fact is you have to open up to the pain too. And those dark nights of the soul crack you open. They're necessary. And I just love the way that how you articulated that, because, at that point of surrender is when you let God in.
Yeah.
At that point of surrender is the point that you're fully present with what is. And presence is where the key is. That's beautiful. And yeah, I love it that we're all alchemists. Absolutely,
Mm,
absolutely.
mm,
And in that experience, so you mentioned just earlier, Hannah, that the point of surrender, that's when God started to talk to you, or you heard God. God's probably talking to us all the time. We're just in our
mm,
own little world.
mm,
Um, I would love to hear more about. what God is to you, and how do you hear God? How do you, you know, how do you open up to hear that direction, to know that it is God?
I believe, like Einstein said, everything is frequency, and
Mm,
we need to
mm,
familiarize ourselves with the frequency of love of God. And this is something that when I was younger, I remember seeing in my own life, such a lack of love. And I remember saying to God, even when I was 8 years old, where is your love? Like, where is the love that you talk about? And I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious in any way, but that's just how I spoke to God. I just see it all, infinite, like God as infinite love. Um,
yes,
but it's familiarizing ourselves with the frequency of God, because God is not a religion. God is not contained in a name. God just is. God is everything. And for me, it's I had to learn to connect with my own heart, and especially when I started having my own kids and feeling that love for my kids, or feeling that love for like your family, or your loved ones, who your best friends, or anyone who you love, or even a cat. You can feel that frequency. Like if you were holding a kitten, you just go like,
mm,
oh, and you
mm,
feel it in your cells. Love
you
is
do.
something that is felt in the cells and in the
Yes,
body. And so when you can access that frequency or feeling, you can access the frequency of love, which is God, which is like everything. And we can practice doing that. And like I had to start from the feeling of safety first, because I didn't know what love was. And I started asking my guides to show me how supported I was, and that I was actually safe. And
yes,
every single night when I went to bed, I would just close my eyes and I would tune into their frequency. And if you don't know what their frequency is, I was just telling a client of mine just the other day, ask your guides, talk to them. They can't give you answers unless you ask. Ask and it is given. So we must ask our guides to reveal themselves to us, because they're waiting. They're waiting to like just shower down their presence on
yeah,
us. So
yeah.
when you can ask and somehow tap into that, the frequency of love, whether it's a sunset or going for a walk in nature, start from there, and then ask your guides to start revealing themselves. Yeah, just one at a time.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that I love that. That's beautiful. And our guides are there. And I've heard that we each have many. It's not just the one. We have a
Mm,
team around us that we can't see. And it reminds me also what my mentor and friend, the late Bob Proctor, he sent me an email once and he said, Suzana, just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not here or it doesn't exist. He said, most of which is real, we cannot experience with the five senses. So they are
mm,
around us.
mm,
We are
mm,
so loved, beyond measure. We can't even measure the
mm,
love that we are, that God has for us, that is around us. Um, and
mm.
and as you were sharing that, like a question that I've been asked, and I'd love to ask you, is, but how do you know that the message is coming from your guides? How does it come through, and how do you know it's your guides or God rather than you just making it up?
We make everything up. We make everything up in our imagination. So this is something I struggled with for years and years and years, because I thought, well, I can't share that because I don't know 100% sure that it was actually what I received, and did I receive it from my guides, so I
Yes.
held myself back for so many years.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, well, I don't know. How do I know that that person I'm listening to is actually receiving the correct information? But the way that you know is it resonates as truth inside of you. So that's probably the shortest answer that I can think of. You feel it, and truth always resonates. If we're really open to discovering the truth, it always reveals itself to us. And
Wow.
and you just have to keep stepping out. And it's faith. It's faith. And
Wow.
yeah.
I love that's so eloquently put. So the way that you know is that it resonates within you. You said something along those lines. The way that you know is that it resonates
As
within you
truth. Yeah.
as truth within you. Excuse
Mm,
me. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What would your message to the world be? What would you love the
mm.
world to know about themselves?
Something that my guides keep saying to me consistently, and I feel this for the first time in my life. I feel like propelled to like push this message out, that you are needed right now. Everything that is happening in the world at the moment, um, with the awakening, whatever you want to call it, um, is actually calling people to step out into their authenticity. And for me, um, authenticity is the frequency of God. It is God expressing itself through us. And when we can surrender and allow God to express through us, that's when we're living our purpose. That's when we're living our authentic, unique frequency and expressing that into this world. And that's where my passion is. My passion is like, I just have conversations with random people all the time, and they end up in tears because I see them. I see what they are here to do even before they do it. And that's my message is find who you are and express that into this world, because you're here to express, you're not here to hide your light. You're here to shine your light. So that's everything that I do. I do like offer
Wow.
a lot of things, and that's what I want people to see, is that they are God. They're not this teeny tiny um as or like, how would you say, they aren't their trauma,
Mm.
that they
Mm.
are divine
I
expression.
love it. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh gosh, I love it. I love the way you worded that too. Authenticity, be you because the world needs you. And that authenticity is God expressing itself through you. And
Mm,
you are needed. Your light is needed upon the world, especially during this time.
mm,
What a beautiful message. What a beautiful message to end this. And your authenticity, Hannah, is healing the world. I've experienced your power. Anybody watching this interview, I'm going to share this amongst my community. Um, please experience one of Hannah's sessions, because I did not that long ago, about a month ago, a month or two ago.
mm,
And like I've said, I've had many healing experiences, sessions, etc., and they've all been great. Most of them have been, but I've never experienced the power and what I had experienced in that
mm.
1 hour that I was with you.
Yeah.
Um, it was out of this world. You truly do have an intuitive gift, and things kind did change for me. It's like an activation happened, which you said it would. Spiritually, calmness, and all of that.
Mm. Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Mm,
much for the gift of you, for your wisdom, for the strength to and for having, kept going during your dark nights of the souls, which I'd imagine some of them would be really tough.
Mm,
But choosing to come back to this life and choosing to be a fuller expression of you, Hanna Kael, because the fuller expression of Hanna helps us all become the fuller expression of our authentic selves. So
mm.
thank you for your
Oh,
gift.
thank you, Susanna. Thank you. You are just such an incredible person. Like, and mentor. I've worked, well, people probably don't know, but you were my mentor for a while there. Like how many years back are we going? 7 or 8, like you said. Yeah. And I would highly recommend anyone to work with you because you're just the most genuine, authentic person. You absolutely are. And you emanate love and compassion towards others. Like, and that's so rare. That's so rare to really, you really hold space for people and you see people. You really see people. And I thank you for that.
Thank you so much. It's such a mutual respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you'll send us your details. We're going to, if I can connect people to you, I think everybody needs to experience your energy activations.
Thank you, Susanna. I appreciate that. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.